Faith, and joining us this morning is Pastor Micah Wright with Spring Hill Avenue, UMC. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
We wanted to talk about Christmas. It's one of the biggest holidays in Christianity and probably one of the most cited in the secular Western world as well. So why is this holiday so important?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because most of your classic Christmas movies and songs attest to the importance of this holiday.
Yeah.
It's really about relationships. Our relationships with others, family, friends, significant others, but most importantly, our relationship with the divine. And so on this holiday, this Christmas day, we celebrate this moment in which God showed us how much relationships are a priority by becoming humbled to the point of a baby to come and be with us. And that's what makes this holiday so significant.
So what do you preach about this time of year, and how does a minister keep the message fresh?
It's interesting that you say that, because this time of year people do have expectations for the same feel-good messages, the same themes, the same songs, the same overall feel to this season. So I like to introduce the uncomfortable nature of Christmas. Things like how Jesus was born in really a remarkably disgraceful way.
Yeah.
Or how the first people to receive the good news were the poor people, not the rich or middle class. Or even how it probably wasn't a silent night when Jesus was born, because the act of childbirth is rarely quiet.
All right, so when we talk about this holiday, how do you keep Christ the focus on a holiday that's really often co-opted by secular interests?
Yeah, so it's important for us to remember that Christ came to be in the secular world, not separate from it. And so often in his ministry, Jesus is interacting with the things that the religious community would have seen as problematic. And in doing so, I mean, in one point, having dinner with sinners, Jesus even says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have come not for the righteous, but for the sinners. And so when we recognize that Christ didn't come for the holy and the spiritual, but for the secular and for the sinners, then we can start to recognize that Christ is already in the secular world, making the impact that we are all hoping for. And so it's our job to kind of seek out where Christ is in the secular world.
You talked about the difficult parts. What's your favorite part of this time of year?
Yeah, I would love to be able to say the lights, but honestly, it has to be this unspoken spirit of kindness. For whatever reason, during this season, people are just generally nicer to each other. We often see more people volunteering during this time, more people donating or giving of their resources, and it's this spirit that kind of leads people to do this. It's the same spirit that led to the World War I truce in the early 1900s, whenever on Christmas Day, enemies dropped their weapons and even played soccer together. It's just this spirit that I would be so bold to call the Holy Spirit that leads people into these random acts of kindness all throughout the season, and I love that.
Wonderful to be reminded of the spirit of Christmas this time of year. Pastor Micah Wright with Spring Hill Avenue, UMC. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Faith Time, and News 5 this morning will continue after